All right, in this video, I want to just go over how to check the wiring on a DMV plug. This is a dual multi-valve from Dung's. As you can see, it doesn't have a flange, it doesn't have any switches. It is just basically what you get fresh out of the box. And it does, I have put the plug on it, and that plug is called a DIN plug. I think it's a Form B or a Form A. I can't remember which one, but it's pretty easy to check the wiring on a plug. But what you'll need to do, you start by unloosening that screw and just pulling the plug off. And you'll see that it's got 4 poles underneath, and this it's got 4 corresponding poles that plug in. The big flat one is always the ground. So I'll pull that out of the way. We'll take a look at this. The first thing you do is you loosen the gland. And this is the gland nut, and that comes off. And what you'll discover under there is a little flange that pinches the rubber part of the gland into place and holds the cord in place. So don't pull too hard on that. We're going to leave that right there. Then to get this part out, there's a little, you can probably see this little indentation here. Very, very gently, you go in and you sort of get under there and you pry up and make sure you reach down in. It's really easy to accidentally break that off. So once you've opened it, you need to probably pull your screw out here, and the screw can just be, you can just completely take the screw completely out of it. Let me see if I can pull that out without too much problem. The screw can come completely out. And what we're left with is the inside. And this one has been wired up for 2 valves, V1 and V2, on a combustion system. So you can sort of see this flat part of the plug here goes right into the green ground wire, and hopefully that's clear. The number 1 terminal goes into this neutral wire. So that's a white wire or a neutral. So you got your neutral and your ground. And if you turn it a little bit, you'll see the black wire comes to V1, the connection to the first valve, because remember, this has got 2 valves in it. This side is 1 valve and this side is the second valve. That's why it's called a multi-valve or a dual block valve. So this terminal causes the first valve to open, and this second terminal causes the second valve to open when it's energized. And I've got a little jumper going right between those two. So to check and make sure that your wiring is good, or that the connection is good, just get your screwdriver in there and check the tightness. Make sure that those are good and tight. If you were to put a torque rating on them, they'd be something like, I don't know, it's quite a bit. But I usually tighten them up. Sometimes you have to work to find the right screwdriver. In this case, it's this torque screwdriver. And you really get in there and you can really feel the torque on those. So you can check the torque, check the setting on all of those wires. Then you'll notice that it just goes in, it's just that gland. You push this back in and you'll hear it click. So it clicks back into place, and you can sort of press your gland back in and then pull that gland nut back in. This gets pressed in, and then this whole affair just screws back down. Takes a bit of pressure and patience to get it in there, but eventually you get it in. I'm not going to do it right now. Anyway, the screw goes back in the top. You run that back in. Just screw that in. Screw that all the way down. It can be useful to get your screwdriver in. Screw this in. At some point you'll see it go all the way in and it just sort of pushes all the way down. Then this just plugs right back in. Top of the DMV. As long as you've managed to get it in there correctly, which in this case I didn't. I'm going to have to go back in and take and rotate that a little bit. So there's the right rotation. It probably makes that close a little bit easier. Yep. And this goes in, this comes down, and you run that back in, screw it on tight, and you're back in business. Thanks.